No, you see, there's 4 ways to avoid GMOs. Buying organic is one. It's the best because now they're using Roundup, for example, as a ripening agent on more than 100 varieties of fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, etc. And so they don't use that in organic crops. And so if you want to avoid Roundup as one of the components of staying healthy, then organic is the way to go. In addition, you can buy products that say non-GMO, and non-GMO Project Verified is the best of those labels. Or you can go to our shopping guide at nongmoshoppingguide.com, which is also available as an iPhone app free. It's called Shop No GMO. Good. Now, if it doesn't say non-GMO or organic, it still might be non-GMO. And for that, you have to figure out the ingredients. Does it contain an at-risk ingredient, one of the 9 crops or their derivatives, or milk and meat, or eggs from animals that have been fed GMOs? Or in the US, milk from animals from dairy cows that have been injected with genetically engineered bovine growth hormone. Or aspartame or other small ingredients that can come from genetically engineered microorganisms. These are listed in our shopping guide as the invisible GMO ingredients that are hard to tell, so you won't necessarily know that maltodextrin is often created from corn, but it's on the list, so it's something that you can avoid. So if you go and buy spaghetti sauce at a major supermarket, you might find some with olive oil. Olive oil is not genetically engineered. You might find some with canola oil or soybean oil. That's genetically engineered. So you can choose a non-GMO brand, even if it doesn't say non-GMO or organic, just by knowing the at-risk ingredients. Now, in addition to the herbicide-tolerant crops, which is about 85% of the crops, there's also the pesticide-producing corn and cotton. And it produces a pesticide called Bt toxin, which is designed to poke holes in the walls of the stomach of insects to kill them. Now, it was discovered that it also pokes holes in human cells. So eating corn chips from genetically modified corn or corn on the cob, you might end up causing punctures or holes all along the digestive tract. Now, this can relate to gastrointestinal disorders, but also leaky gut. With leaky gut, you have, as many clinicians know, it's highly correlated with autoimmune disease, inflammation, food allergies, cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, autism, and a number of other disorders. There's the idea that undigested food proteins can get into the bloodstream, causing a reaction. Molecular mimicry can cause autoimmune disease, and that's a mess. Now, you have that as one of the potential problems with Bt toxin. And Bt toxin was also found in the blood of 93% of the pregnant women tested in Canada. Maybe it got in the blood through the holes that it creates. And Bt toxin in the blood in a mouse study showed cytotoxicity or toxicity to red blood cells. It also was found in 80% of the unborn fetuses of these pregnant women, which is very alarming because if it's getting into their bloodstream, it might get into their brain because of no blood-brain barrier, and it might poke holes in the brain cells. In addition, Bt toxin has been found to promote allergic responses or immune responses. And so now we have an allergen and a hole-poking toxin in the food supply. Now, one of the reasons why it may be in such a high percentage of the Canadians tested, 93% of the pregnant women, is it may be produced by our own gut bacteria. Because one study showed that part of the gene inserted into soybeans, for example, for Roundup Ready soy, transferred into the DNA of bacteria living inside our intestines, and that those bacteria were unkillable with Roundup, suggesting, but not proving, that once transferred, the bacterial genes continued to produce the genetically engineered proteins 24/7 inside our own guts. If this happens with Bt toxin from corn chips or corn tortillas or whatever, it was never tested, tragically, it might convert our intestinal flora into living pesticide factories, and that may explain why such a high percentage of the women tested, of the blood, had Bt toxin in it, where it should normally wash out very quickly. Now, Bt toxin, if you look at the list of diseases and disorders that we talked about in the beginning, because Bt toxin can promote immune responses, and with mice it allowed them to be sensitive to formerly harmless compounds, so it had an adjuvant response. It made other things allergenic, essentially. That could explain some of the immune system issues, the inflammation, and the hole-poking toxin could be linked to anything that's related to leaky gut or gastrointestinal disorders. But that has stiff competition from the effects of Roundup. Roundup is a potent antibiotic, so it can kill gut bacteria, but it's selective. It kills the good stuff, the stuff that we pay for, the lactobacillus, the bifidobacteria. It does not kill the E. coli, salmonella, or botulism. It might cause an overgrowth of the negative gut bacteria, which can create very caustic gas. It can also create zonulin, which in turn can create leaky gut by separating the junctions of the cells in the intestines. Roundup has also suppressed digestive enzymes in one study with fish. It also damaged the microvilli in the intestinal walls, as did Bt toxin. It's an endocrine disruptor. In one study, the male rats had more estrogen, the female rats had more testosterone. It also promotes the growth of cancer cells. It blocks the production of aromatic amino acids inside the gut by the gut bacteria, which includes L-tryptophan, and L-tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin and melatonin. So you may have all the mental disorders associated with those two: sleeplessness, depression, the inability to feel satiated when you eat, so you eat more. It also blocks the CYP enzymes to function properly, and those enzymes help detox toxins out of the liver. So any other toxin that is normally detoxed out of the liver can be far more toxic when you're also exposed to Roundup or its active ingredient glyphosate. And finally, it chelates nutrients, making them unavailable, so that we may actually be minerally deficient by eating residues of Roundup, or by eating the crops that have been sprayed with Roundup, or eating the animals who've been eating the crops that have been sprayed by Roundup. So it presents a huge picture, a perfect storm of so many diseases and disorders. Two scientists who are experts at it now just correlated the biochemical changes that I just said with biochemical and physiological changes of certain diseases and disorders, and found that glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, is linked to cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, digestive disorders, reproductive disorders, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, autism, multiple sclerosis, anorexia, depression, aggression, gluten sensitivity, and kidney dysfunction.
For the complete video and other amazing content like this, head over to ehealer.com/free and sign up for our free natural health video series. You won't want to miss it.